Here goes the record in here. Do you want me to play the song, or you want to just jump right in?
We could jump right in.
All right, then you are live and good to go.
Hi, everybody.
How's everybody
Hey. Am I moving right? Okay.
Yes. I want to say thanks for tuning in to our show. Tonight we're going to be, discussing quite a few little topics, but, of course, mainly, the pandemic that's going on right now with this whole, COVID-19 that is still out here. It is not gone, while everybody is doing their thing.
Just because you're bored doesn't mean it's gone.
Right.
For real.
That absolutely. And we're
I mean,
also,
I'm bored with Trump. He hasn't disappeared.
Period.
He ain't going nowhere right now. Yeah.
Right. So we're talking about that, and we're also going to be discussing the Black Lives Matter movement. And so we do have a special guest that I want to introduce to everyone tuning in. But first and foremost, I am Chrissy Mack.
And I'm Berkeley.
And together we are
Kloset Konversationz.
On PodcastDetroit.
Live from PodcastDetroit.
Live from PodcastDetroit.
Love it.
Well, and with any luck, this will be the last one of these that you have to do via this platform. We have just gotten all the finishing touches done on our Detroit and Northville studio locations, because those are single studio locations, so it's easier for us to crowd control and kind of see how things go there. We still have Zoom, so I actually just went down this weekend, put the TV in there, so we can still have guests come in via Zoom to kind of keep the numbers of people in studio down to keep it safer. Of course, that's assuming we don't turn into Texas, Florida, California, and every place else that has had
Arizona.
Dude, we've seen a ridiculous
going up
cases,
everywhere,
and we don't have mom send us to our room again.
Right.
Because
that's
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, our guest, he has his own company called Duke Investments and Associates LLC. And, that company has been around since 2018. And, they deal with a lot of rehab and, commercial types of properties. They have like federal and government contracts. And his name is Mr. Deshaun Wilson. Welcome, Deshaun.
Thank you so much, and thank you for letting me be a part of the podcast. I've been trying to get on for so long. Thank you for finally letting me in.
Yes, welcome to our podcast, Deshaun. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let's just kind of kick off, something not quite as serious as the Black Lives Matter right now. How do you feel about just simply everything opening up?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, I know a lot of people are sitting at home bored and wanting to start their lives, because it's not going to go back to the old norm. It's new normal, and everything adjust to that new normal. Whatever normal be is different for everyone, but at the end of the day, we're a lively human being, so we want to get out. Human interaction really, we need to interact with each other. You know what I'm saying? And when people are sitting at home and bored and throw out things to do, but you to a point now after 3 or 4 months that people are pretty much over it. I know I am, but at the same time, we must remain calm. It hasn't went anywhere. I don't know if anyone has been affected by it here. I know I wasn't. I do have the antibodies, but I'm very excited about it opening back up here.
Nice. So like no close friends or family members or loved ones that you have lost to the virus?
Absolutely. You know, this thing hit like a sledgehammer. You know, people that were very, very close to me. I lost a few family members, and I lost a couple of friends that were perfectly healthy. They did,
Wow.
you know, even if what we would say very like vegans and people that are very healthy. Once this thing caught a hold to them, no one knew that would take this effect and actually start, you know, taking people out the way that it has. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, 21 years in the military, in the Navy. So me being retired and coming home and starting my business, you know, I was very excited coming home, starting my business, getting everything up and running. Because Detroit right now is a gold mine. You really know what you for. But it has touched, I don't think there's anyone out there right now that this thing has some form of action.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, definitely my prayers are, you know, with you and, you know, your family members that, you know, have passed on, you know, due to, you know, this virus. You know, this pandemic it's hitting everybody, you know, and it's you know, everybody knows someone that have passed away from it. So it's definitely very unfortunate. Yeah.
Just to touch on, you know, the thing about, you know, where we have to realize that not only are we going through a global pandemic, but we're also going through what we would call a civil unrest. And if you look at the whole thing about gentrification and medical, the things that the community is being hit even harder, if you've been picking up on statistics and things of that nature. And I'll play devil's advocate on both cards. We don't have a lot of the black folks don't have the money or they even have a medical, you know what I'm saying, to go even get tested. But on the other end, you have to look at that. A lot of people are hard-headed. You know what I'm saying? These things are being put in place for a reason. And yeah, we want to get out and we want to party, but at the end of the day, we're you know, a lot of people, we're just being hard-headed. You know what I'm saying? We're gathering. And I know that they opened it up a little bit more, but at the end of the day, a lot of us are being hard-headed, and so this second wave is going to be massive. You know what I'm saying? And so we're getting back out here, but at the end of the day, we still have to be very cautious.
So I guess, but like, isn't that, I guess, just a symptom of America 101, where we value the individual over the collective? Like,
Absolutely.
by leaps and bounds. It's all about me, as opposed to us. And that's, I think that we're seeing that played out ridiculously right now.
Absolutely. Me, you know, and I don't want to, you know, the military was 21 years of my life, and I was special support. So when you think about everything that's going on and the people, or because I have traveled the world and I have been all over the world. I lived in Japan for 4 years. Never in my wildest dreams I ever would have thought that going to run a global pandemic. And people were talking about statistics and the communities that it's affecting, but you know, it's affecting the whole world. And like he was just saying, that it's about me. But we have to get out of that attitude. I mean, I know everyone's sick of wearing gloves, or end of the day, you know, I got mine right here. You know, it's a simple fact that you have to be cautious. Period.
And that's the thing. I mean, you know, we've had an infectious disease expert on our show a couple times, and talking about how that's the issue with. So when you're wearing a mask, especially not the N95 mask, the cloth mask that we all have easy access to, that's not about you, because those cloth masks do nothing to protect you, but they drastically increase the protection for other people. And that's the part I don't get, is people care so little about other people that they're fighting that even.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Period.
The Berkeley mask. Woo woo. coming to a store near you.
Period.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, I think people are definitely selfish. I've seen pictures. Strip clubs are open. Dancers don't have on masks. I see no social distancing there. Yeah, it's insane. And then like the restaurant situation, I just walked past a restaurant like I probably looked like an alien because I was looking like, what is going on? You know, freaking waiter had, the mask underneath his nose. And I'm like, what is that going to do? Nobody at the table has a mask on. I heard now you have to walk in with the mask. Once you're seated with your party or whatever, you can take your mask off. Obviously, you need your mask off to eat. And if you have to get up and go to the bathroom or something like that, then your mask must be on and obviously leaving the establishment. But I'm so scary. Like, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take for me. Like,
Right.
I go to grocery store and cook.
I'm really scared. I'm not really scared of, catching it because, like it's just the amount of things that I put inside of my body every day, different types of herbs and supplements, but I'm cautious though. So I think the masks are cool. I have all my different like little Berkeley masks and my N95 mask and,
You bougie.
Yeah. So I'm like stylish, so I look at it as, so I'm like, okay, it's okay, to wear the mask, because, I'm protecting others, or whatever. So, but, and I've been tested, a few times for it, but, I'm still like, I just feel like why people wouldn't wear the mask and why would you, it's just, I don't know. I just think that it's,
selfishness.
very responsible. Yeah, it's very selfish to not wear it. It's very responsible to wear it,
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I'm just curious to see how our numbers are going to be because everybody's video I've seen, they out no mask nowhere. I'm just like, maybe it should disappear. We'll see. Around the country it's going up, so it's like, all right, let me chill and watch and see what happens. I understand trying to stimulate the economy, and by opening things up and generating lost income for these businesses that have been shut down. But it's like all of this at the expense of others. So it's sad. It's sad. I want to give you 60 seconds. Go ahead, baby.
I'm sorry. Well, I with me being, we own a boutique called a Woman's Touch Boutique on Livernois on the Avenue of Fashion. And when everything shut down, a lot of the small businesses and a lot of the sole proprietors weren't getting that money from the SBA because what they weren't understanding is how the Paycheck Protection Program worked and then how the SBA program worked. They were saying that, all the $10,000 forgivable and things of that nature, but what they were only going to do is give you $1,000 per employee, and so a lot of the workers and the laborers do not want to come back to work because they are collecting that unemployment, that extra $600. But at the end of the day, if you're not saving that or doing something positive with it, that ends this month. That ends at the end of July. So and a lot of businesses, and I hate to say it, but it's just the truth is that a lot of our Black businesses doesn't have their ducks in order and their paperwork and things of that nature to even apply for the loan. So a lot of our Black businesses or just businesses period are not going to reopen because, for one, it was detrimental. A lot of times we spend our own money to keep our business afloat, and then you end up out of cash, and then you're looking for or you're going to close down your business. So the preparedness and the education wasn't there, before this thing hit. We weren't prepared for this. And so now a lot of people are losing their businesses and their livelihood because of the unpreparedness.
Yeah. No, this is a wake-up call for everybody.
Definitely.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. So, with the whole, Black Lives Matter movement and, everything that's going on, Rashawn Brooks, RIP to him, and, George Floyd, and countless other, Black men that have, have their lives taken, by, police brutality. How have you encountered any racism, Deshaun? And if so, can you give us a little insight on that?
Absolutely. To personally, I drive around. I did 21 years for this country. You know what I'm saying? So I don't sit up here and I don't take. I give off the same energy that people gives me. But when it comes to Black Lives Matter, it's time. And I'm just be honest and straightforward. It's time. It's time for the legislative branch of this country to recognize that there's need to be extensive training. There needs to be psych evaluations on these police officers before they get on the force and after they get on the force. This is systemic racism is not new. It's not the police departments. They're a fraternity also. So they're going to look out for their own, but nowhere in the training manual for excessive force is there something or any position for certain chokeholds have been banned and a knee on the neck for 8 minutes and 48 seconds. There's no excuse for it. People can try to say, well, the looting and this is, and people, it's been over 400 years. I mean, and if this is not the time to stand up, and I'm not talking about looting. I'm not talking about violence. I'm talking about going all the way to the White House and to Congress and the Senate to make sure that there's laws put in place that immediately when these police officers, they're there to protect and serve, but they're humans off the street just like us. They go through an 8-week class, a police academy class, and then they're put on the force. But a lot of times you run into those guys and girls that were bullied in school, and then they get a badge and a gun, and now they have that power sword, and then
right.
they don't know how to. You never know what side of a bed someone got up on. You never know if it was through their socialization and their families. Their family could have been racist, bigots, and that's called socialization. So all these type things are, no child is born racist.
Nope.
It's a learned behavior.
It's a learned behavior. Yes.
It's a learned behavior. So at the end of the day, we have in the military, we got rapists, killers, sodomists. We got every person that you would know, but we under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, it's a double whammy for us, because if you commit a crime, you're going to not only face the Uniform Code of Military Justice, but you're going to face the civil and the state and the federal. The police have to realize that we're not, the community is not, again, we call on them to protect and serve us, not to be afraid of them. I have a 21-year-old son, and he's in Chicago on a basketball scholarship, and I'm terrified for him. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, he has my attitude, and not that I have a bad attitude, but what I do have is that I'm going to give you the same energy that you gave me, and my son is the same way. So I'm afraid. And for so many other Black youth in these neighborhoods, we're already stereotyped as being aggressive and just being aggressive or angry Black woman. These type things, those are stereotypes that are placed on us. So when the cops come out there, even though they're supposed to protect and serve, they take it way too far, i.e. George Floyd. And right now, I'll be in DC on August 26th. I was at the Million Man March. You know what I'm saying? But let me say this. You can march. But at the end of the day, if we don't keep our foot on the gas and get something written in legislation that says that if a cop puts a knee on the neck of anybody that they arrest, it's automatic firing and automatic prison. I think they should get life, because at the end of the day, from what we've witnessed and what we've been seeing, it has nothing, when someone is down and they're subdued, that's it. You don't have to do anything else. They're done. Over in Iraq, it's totally different. And I can go in, that's a whole nother story. But here in America, I'm overseas fighting for our freedoms, and I have to come home and be afraid to drive while black, or worry about a cop that has never served this country or been overseas and been shot at and dodged mortars and these type things, to be taken down for a simple traffic violation and be killed. That's just, that shows right there that Trump has brought the climate and the culture of America to a place where it's worse than back in the 60s. You know, so I got 2 daughters. I mean, and you have kids. I don't know who all has kids, but Chris, I know, you know what I'm saying, your son.
Right.
The bottom line is, I'm going to protect him regardless of anything. You know what I'm saying? And that's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. And people got to realize, and I'm going to shut up after this, that if you're black and you're sitting here, you got to realize that your ancestors were warriors. They were, somebody made it through all the ships, the slave, the trading, the name change, the whole 9 yards. Somebody in your family was a warrior. And we have to take that same mentality on today and protect our women, our children, and our orphans, period.
So, I mean, I guess here's my question.
Sure.
As the token white guy in the room, like,
You
to
just
me,
light skin.
no, right? So, I mean, like, is this one positive that came out of the pandemic? Because, I mean, let's be real. Without people cooped up in their house for 2.5 months, without people out of work, without all of that going on, is that just another flash in the pan incident where everybody gets outraged and then it's replaced by another headline? Or did the George Floyd situation like really catch on and take hold because of where we were as a society at that moment, with all that tension built up and all of that, let's be honest, boredom, and to get people out into the streets and to get people out into doing that, because you didn't have to worry about going to work the next day. You didn't have to, because, I mean, let's be honest, we've seen worse cases than this before, and there hasn't been this kind of movement, and yet here it is now. And so if that's the only difference, like, is that like, hey, thanks Corona, thanks.
It was perfect timing. It was perfect timing because what you're saying is right. That if we were all going to work and, still stressed, this has been the most relaxed I've ever been in my life. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, shit, I was able to actually go out and walk myself. If I had to go to work, probably wouldn't have made it. You know what I'm saying? It was perfect timing. It's unity that was needed. And I mean, you got to keep going. Like you said, keep your foot on the gas, because even when everything does open up, like, black people will still be getting, unfortunately killed,
Yeah.
So.
Right, yeah.
Because I mean, our attention, because I think, like what you said, yeah, we chilling more or less, like, oh shit, we gotta go out here and march and support it, yeah.
Because we're all confined to a space now, so like, the television and the stories have our undivided attention. Mm-hmm. So we're like, whoa, like, okay, this happened and that happened and this happened, because we're all quarantined, technically. Supposed to be, so yeah.
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly.
I want to put things in to put things in a perspective. You know what I'm saying? We're all around the same age, and if you remember when 9/11 happened, it wasn't about the color. You know what I'm saying? We came together as Americans. You know what I'm saying? Every American in the United States was pissed off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we got snuck, we got caught slipping, and so now we're bullies. I'm just be honest. The United States is bullied wherever we go. As a military, we stay. We set up shop. So when we got caught slipping, America, it wasn't about the color. It wasn't about any of the things. It was about America. Maybe 2 or 3 months later, everything started filtering out. We started rebuilding, and then you seen everything that was kind of dormant came back to life. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Now when we have a president who is basically putting the divide amongst America out there blatantly and getting away with it, of course, that heightens things. And then with the COVID-19, with the COVID-19, everybody being at home and being able to suck up that the media and what people are talking about. Then when it hit, when George Floyd hit, it was like, okay, everybody's at home. We have to come out and protest. We have to come out and say something. And I'm afraid of, like I was just saying, us not keeping the foot on the pedal and keeping this things going. We can march as long as we want, we can do all these things, but if we don't actually get someone, the congressmen and the senators, to actually put something down in writing, it's not going to change. What Black folks have to realize right now is you're not going to be able to do anything about what Donald Trump is doing right now. That's way above your head. But what you do have to concentrate on is your local government, your councilman, your city councilman, it's about where you live at, if I try to get people, the young cats, that when I'm up in the studio with them, talking to them, kicking up, hey man, did you fill out the census? Are you going to vote? Man, I ain't about to go through all that. I ain't about to vote. Well, understand this, a lot of the young youth, Black youth, are walking around the country right now as felons, especially if they grew up in a improper neighborhood, because they never registered for the selective service. So if they ever enact a draft again and they come out and they say you've been drafted and you're because they're going to come get every able-bodied male, which it probably will never happen, but just from a legislation part,
don't put anything past this place now.
Right. They don't know that if you're not registered for selective service, you're a felon, because it's a federal law. You know what I'm saying? That at 18 years old, every male has to register for selective service. So it's little things like that that keeps us in a predicament of being always trying to catch up. I came back home because I seen, I just think I'm an extrovert. I love talking to people. I love being out there so it hit my business hard, because that's how I make my money, is going out, interacting and talking to people.
Right.
So, but what I have done, and I've taken this opportunity to go out to the studios, go out in the neighborhood and say, it looks different when it comes from me and I'm dressed like this, or I'm coming up to them in a suit. If I can be a chameleon and adapt to their environment and being able to get 5 minutes of their ear, they may go vote, they may not fill out I'm hoping that they fill out the census. I'm hoping that they go vote. But when it comes to what's going on now with this movement, organization is key. Organization is key. And if we don't become even more organized than we are now, then it's going to, I guarantee you, within the next 3 or 4 months, once everything really open back up, it's going to, because you got to remember, it's election year. You know what I'm saying? So you got to remember that it's election year. So at the end of the day, this is the time to push. But like what's the name was saying, it's all about me, 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 me. But at the end of the day, I'm all about, and Chris, and we talked about this, it's all about building generational wealth. And
absolutely,
we don't, what I'm saying, that's something that we have to take, and that's all I'm about. That's what I'm focused on. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to build generational wealth. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to shut up. Just remember this. They don't make bunk bed caskets, and I ain't never seen a Brinks truck pull up to a funeral home. So enjoy it while you're here. You know what I'm saying? And leave what you can for your kids, and hopefully that you've instilled in them great ethics, morals, and values that they will carry on and reap the benefits of your labor and carry it on. If not, you know what I'm saying, just do the best you can right now and live your life. Right.
Wow. So, with all that being said, with everything that has been going on, with the whole Black Lives Matter movement and things like that, it seemed like the country, especially our city, of Detroit, we kind of calmed down, quite a bit as far as Black on Black crime. But, hey, recently we've had quite a spike, on Black on Black crime, different types of, activity that is not necessary at all, you know. And it's just like, haven't we learned, like, how are we supposed to teach, you know, and explain to other people how important it is, you know, for, you know, the whole Black Lives Matter movement when we're still going around killing each other?
The bottom line is, it takes a village. It takes a village. You know what I'm saying? We've lost our village. We've lost our pawpaws. We've lost our G-moms, our big moms. We've lost the you know, when you went to school, you got your ass kicked by the teacher if you were out of line. And if you were in your neighborhood and you walked across the street and didn't look both ways, if a neighbor seen you, they'll come pop you on your butt, call home, and then you get your butt beat when you get home because you know better. Everybody looked out for each other. With everything that with generationally, and especially with the previous generation to us, I think that our generation and I'm not down in any generation. What I'm saying, I think our generation is the last of the Mohicans when it comes to understanding what the civil rights movement was, who W.E.B. Du Bois, who Franklin, Frederick Douglass, and
knowing our history.
Martin Luther King. Yeah, we knowing our history, even though they started snatching it from us slowly, you know what I'm saying, when we were in school. But if you look at it now, you know, a lot of our kids, like I graduated, I went to Henry Ford, then I graduated from Chadsey. Chadsy's gone, Mackenzie's gone. So a lot of our youth are out here with eighth grade educations because they couldn't even get to school because they shut the school down. And then they opened up a middle school. You know, they expanded the middle school where Chadsey was, but that's basically telling them that you're going to, at the 8th grade education, you're going to have to find somewhere to go to high school at. So, and all because no one shows up for count day at school. You know what I'm saying? You know, our count day, right. that money, you know, if you show up for that day, the school is going to get X amount of dollars. For most of our kids, they think it's a skip day. You know, so we have to get out here and we have to educate our youth. Think about this, Chris. And I was guilty of it. Have you ever taught your kids how to farm, to grow their own vegetables?
No, no, I have not.
So with that being said, how can they, you know what I'm saying, how can they, we're really setting them up for failure. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're in the computer age and they have to stay up on all social media and things of that nature, computers to stay current. But when it comes to survival, like now, you know what I'm saying, who thought we were going to be in a global pandemic? But what if you could have went out in half of your backyard and started you a vegetable garden back there and been able to have your fresh tomatoes, cucumber, squash, whatever that you needed? You know what I'm saying? We don't teach our youth that, and I'm guilty of it too. I don't want to be a hypocrite, you know what I'm saying? But I did speak to my kids now saying, hey, this is something that we need to really pick up on because our grandparents taught us, you know what I'm saying? But what are we doing as adults at this generation to teach our
yeah, we got to teach them a trade or something and show them,
yes, ma'am.
You know, right, how to start it from the ground, or started from the bottom, you know?
Absolutely.
Some real skills. Question, Deshaun. Sure. So I'm going to switch gears on you. We got about 14 minutes left.
Okay.
So during this quarantine, do you have any like quarantine boo, quarantine love?
Say it again.
Quarantine boo or quarantine love?
Quarantine boo.
Damn.
A foreign crush.
Oh,
you gonna hit me with that? Okay. So, actually, no, because you know, as Chris she's a very close friend of mine. I just got a divorce approximately a year and a half ago. When I got a divorce, my whole thing was to make sure that I concentrated on my business. Have I been out on a few dates? Yeah. But as far as relationship-wise and things of that nature, you know, to be honest, shit, I didn't trust nobody. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The hell with that. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I think,
real.
Yeah. I didn't trust nobody. But am I horny as hell? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Do I have to take care of myself? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know what it really made me do was refocus on what's important in life. It gave me the time to sit back and because I'm a relationship type guy. You know what I'm saying? I was married 21 years. I was with her for 26 years. And we're still close friends to this day. But at the end of the day, as far as someone that I was seeing on a regular and things of that nature, I emotionally and physically, mentally, I wasn't ready for that. And so, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't ready for that. So when I get ready to get into a full-blown relationship, if that ever happens, I want to be able to give myself fully. And at this point in time with my business and things with this COVID and stuff like that, I just haven't had the time. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I've, take care of myself, but I don't have no boo.
Take care of yourself. I like that.
Yeah, flat out. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. So if you go around a woman, you both have to have on masks, like no walking through the park or
right.
Oh no. Yeah, no. We walk through the park, we go, you know what I'm saying, come down to the boat, we have a good time. You know what I'm saying? As long as I know that we're not finna go in no gathering of 10, 13, 14 people, stuff like that. I have no problem, you know what I'm saying, with someone individually. And to be honest, who in the hell really, we can be as cautious as we want. If you catch that shit, you catch it. There's nothing really you're going to be able to do because you're really not going to be able to trace that source back to where, you know what I'm saying, it could be a wipe of a mouth that just went into the store.
And at the end of the day, just from a pure science perspective, everybody is going to wind up with this. It is a standard, stereotypical coronavirus. And like people don't understand, so coronavirus is the family, COVID-19 is one of them. But the common cold is right in there. Just like you get a cold, because everyone gets a cold, eventually everyone, or to the point of herd immunity, is going to wind up with this in some way, shape, or form.
Some more serious than others. But I like to be able to track the person. Like, I was around you, Chris.
Well, no,
I'm coughing a little too heavy right now.
No, so and that's one of those that it's all about me as opposed to the us. It makes me laugh how many posts I see where people are like, oh, Google and Apple are trying to track me and trace me, and yet I'm like, dipshit, you realize you're posting this from your phone, which tracks and traces you 24/7 anyway, and you probably share your location data with 19 different apps that you don't even know you're sharing your location with. But this one that can actually do some good for society as a whole, you want to bitch about. Like, the hell is wrong with you?
I bitched about it. I was like, I didn't give y'all permission to do that. You know what I'm saying? To add a tracking device. And what if I was, not like you said, I know we're all being tracked, but you just gonna add an app to my shit? And what if when I went and got tested, I was positive? They called me, so it's a tracking with that phone, so somebody else could be like, oh shit, Jeffrey has positive. Let me stay the fuck away from her, or I've been around her. You know what I'm saying? So they had to call us, Chris, right? And tell us our confirmation if it was positive or not. So they had our fucking phone number. So I'm like, dang, y'all could have asked me.
People gotta go ahead, Chris.
Well, step one, so the reality is, and this is the part that people miss. Number one, you have to be walking around with Bluetooth enabled for it to actually function. Like that's a thing, because what it does is, because God, we talked about this on our show 3 months ago when they first started talking about this. So what it does is it uses Bluetooth to tell, and so Bluetooth, wireless has a much bigger range. Bluetooth can only tell what's within 6 to 10 feet of you. And so it assigns every phone a unique ID, and it keeps track of other unique IDs that you come in contact with. And if any of those pop positive, then it can go back and say, hey, and it just says, hey, someone you were in contact with in the last 14 days has turned up positive. You should either self-quarantine, go get yourself tested, wherever else. So, it's not that personally intrusive of a thing, compared to Fred Brown, the infectious disease expert we had on, had a colleague who went to Taiwan, and when you if you land at the airport at Taiwan, they watch you and force you to install a contact tracing app on your phone. He let his phone die. He didn't charge his phone enough because his phone was dead for 20 minutes. They locked him in his hotel room for 14 days. Because they lost that signal on him for 20 minutes. And like that's the reason why Taiwan isn't having the issues that we're having, because they're taking this a lot more seriously and being a lot more proactive than we are. And when I say they, cops showed up at his hotel room door after 20 minutes and went, "Hey, we lost contact with you. Sorry, you're in this room for the next 14 days."
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, let me keep my ass in the country. I just got my alert. I'm supposed to be going to Cabo. I was supposed to be going to Cabo tomorrow.
Oh, damn.
That shit is canceled.
Yeah.
Cabo in Detroit.
Flat out.
Cabo, Detroit.
I understand, like, you know, people don't, like, if you check your phone, if you have an iPhone, if you go to your settings, then you go to privacy, and then you go to health on your phone, you'll see the COVID-19 track. You'll see it. So if you go to settings, privacy, this is on iPhone, settings, privacy, then health, then you'll go on there and make
sure my shit is on there.
That it's off. Yeah, it's
on
mine
there. Was off.
And then on the Android, it's make sure you keep that shit off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there are because
your phone breaking up.
This, if you're walking, you know what I'm saying, and the next thing you know, you get an alert saying somebody you just were in contact got COVID. You know what I'm saying? That type shit, you know, that's for to. I'd rather a doctor tell me that shit than my phone. If you get what I'm saying. I don't want an alert on my phone saying that unless you can tell me exactly who it was.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
So I'm out here
attached with it.
Right. I mean, I just know that you know, all my life I've been an athlete. You know, I played for Fairs 4 years. I've been running, you know what I'm saying, in the military 21 years. So I was you know what I'm saying, I was very hopeful that, you know, and trust me, I've been shot up with so much shit in the military that the COVID probably entered my body and said, "How in the hell are you living?" You know? But so I wasn't afraid of the virus because I know that even though I have my vices, I drink, you know what I'm saying, and do other things, but I didn't, my immune system, I think I was saying like, hey, you know what I'm saying, I've been an athlete all my life, you know what I'm saying, I fight this shit. And I know I did lose my smell way back early March, and I went to the old school ancestral remedies. I started drinking hot toddies, I upped my vitamin C, I started steaming. Chris, I know you see me out with my little pot, you know, over steaming, you know what I'm saying? So that's all I did to take care of myself, you know, and I stayed my ass in the house, but it's time, you know what I'm saying? But before we go, I just want to thank you so much. I want to thank you all for having me on as your guest. Trying to get on for a long. I know I probably ran my mouth too much. But
no,
I really
we loved it. You were our only guest, so you were perfect. You know, like we didn't have to like just keep on asking you questions over and over again. So yeah, it was a perfect time for you to be here and you know and have your one man show. You know, you definitely spoke some knowledge, you know, to our listeners, and we definitely appreciate that.
Well, and so for what it's worth, on a totally random aside, Crystal, one of my friends chimed in way back at the beginning of the show and said, "Hey, Crystal really makes your shirts look good. She should be your advertising model." I'm just saying.
Yeah, hey, yes, she does, doesn't she?
Take a selfie,
Thank
Chris.
you. Huh?
I said take a selfie. I was trying to take a picture as we were talking, but you know
I
that's not always good. So take one.
Everybody say cheese. 1, 2, 3.
I didn't even see Dave smile. Smile again.
Right, he probably like.
it's my knowing, hey, I'm half in the bag smirk. That's
Hey Dave, I just want to say this, bro. Thank you so much for understanding our plight, understanding what we're going through as a culture. You know what I'm saying? I know you made a statement earlier. Diane, we were talking about things that's going on in America, and I just really like to, really thank you for being understanding and soaking this stuff up and taking, and even though, you're not Black, you still can educate us, and just by being understanding. And I'd like to thank you for doing that.
He's Black on the inside.
Dude,
On the inside.
I appreciate
David
that.
is Black on the inside.
I will say this. I appreciate that. It is neither my place nor my role to educate you. It is my place and it's the meme I shared that's gone ridiculously viral that said, "This is not the time for me to be nicer to my 3 Black friends. It's the time for me to be louder and more obnoxious to my 300 ignorant white friends."
There you go.
And that's what I'm trying to do. That's yeah.
Woohoo!
That's why he's our favorite.
Flat out.
Flat
Flat out. Flat out.
Wow.
Well, thank you, sir. Pleasure meeting you.
Absolutely. The pleasure was all mine.
Yes, thank you, Deshaun. Thank you for joining our podcast.
You had me.
Definitely.
You had me.
Before you get out of here, and I feel like I feel bad stepping in. Like, where do people find you online? I feel like that's the important question that hasn't been asked yet.
There you go.
Duke Investments and Associates LLC. Duke Investments. I'm sorry, Duke Investments and Associates LLC. You can also look up Duke Investments online. My website will pop right up. If you know anyone who needs financial, right? We also do credit repair, and we also do rehabs on and buy and purchase commercial property. So if you know anyone needs any work done, or they just want to get knowledge on how to work this financial, I guess I'll say post-pandemic, I have a lot of information that I can share and get people on the right track to get on the right success.
Sweet. You have an Instagram page?
Duke. It's DUKE.1893. That Duke DUKE.1893 is my Instagram.
Okay. Sweet.
Wait.
But Chris knows that I'm silly, so if you come onto my unless you go to my business page, if you come on my Facebook page, that's something totally different.
Definitely,
I feel like
definitely comical.
we all live different lives. Let's be honest. That's
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
There's our LinkedIn life, our Facebook life, and our Instagram life. Those are different.
And our podcast life.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. To my 2 beautiful Black women, I'm always in your corner. I love you to death. I don't know if someone told you that today, but you're my queen. I adore and I appreciate you. And if you ever need anything from me, please don't hesitate to ask. Period.
Thank you. Oh,
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes. So everybody, hit us up, Closet Conversations. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Closet Conversations, Closet with the K, Conversations with the K, a Z at the end of Conversations. We're on Instagram. Hit us up on Closet Conversations on Instagram. What else would you like to say, Jess, before we wrap things up? Anything?
Instagram, Facebook, get you a Berkeley mask.
Yeah, get you a Berkeley mask. Yep. Get some insurance. Hey, during this pandemic, people are passing away, of this virus, and they don't have any coverage, and they're still setting up GoFundMe. So give me a call. I'm Chrissy Mack on Facebook. I'm Chrissy Mack 1111 on Instagram. So give me a call, 248-703-2429. Call me. Virtual policies over the phone. It's no excuse now. None. So don't tell me you ain't home. You ain't.
Don't tell me you working.
Don't tell me you working.
Flat out.
Let me get some of that unemployment to piece the policy to protect you from the loved one.
Get your life in order.
Period.
Get it in order.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you. Well, I'm Chrissy Mack.
And I'm Berkeley. And we are Closet Conversations.
Flat out.
Oh, Podcast Detroit.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.